Widely regarded as Jessica Jones' most iconic villain, Kilgrave has the opportunity to join the MCU in Daredevil. Born Again. Zebediah Kilgrave, 2LS, otherwise known as the Purple Man, debuted in Marvel Comics in 1964's Daredevil number 4, with a variation named Kevin Thompson appearing in Marvel Television's Jessica Jones series, The Tran on Netflix from 2015 to 2019, played by Doctor Who star David Tennant. Kilgrave's decades-long comic career made him a formidable enemy of both Jessica Jones and Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil alike, a fact that might pose the prospect of the sinister villain's introduction into the MCU canon. At San Diego Comic-Con 2022, Marvel Studios shocked audiences with the confirmation of Daredevil, Born Again, an upcoming Disney Plus series with a whopping 18-episode run and a 2024 release date. Many speculated that the title meant that Marvel Comics' 1986 Born Again storyline would be adapted, which involved Kingpin uncovering Daredevil's secret identity and setting out to obliterate Matt Murdock's personal and professional life. However, this comic storyline formed the plot of Daredevil Season 3, creating a problem for Daredevil's future in the MCU. Since Netflix's Daredevil is still so fresh in audiences' minds, it seems unlikely that Marvel Studios will adapt the Born Again storyline for the second time in a decade, but rumors suggest that 2021's Devil's Reign comic run could be adapted instead. This poses the perfect opportunity for Kilgrave to join the MCU, since the Purple Man is such a huge part of this story in the comics. The epic plot of Devil's Reign would also provide more than enough content to fill the massive 18-episode run for Daredevil. Born Again. Why the Born Again comic story can't be adapted on Netflix. Matt Murdock's story culminated in Daredevil Season 3, which thrust the key aspects of the Born Again plot from the comics into Charlie Cox's tragic character's life. Plot points including Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin discovering Daredevil's true identity, the introduction of Murdock's Catholic mother, Maggie, and a copycat working to discredit Daredevil's name were all included in Daredevil Season 3, which was only released in October 2018. The season received a huge critical response and is still often spoken about among fans, which throws a spanner in the works for Marvel Studios, who have largely avoided repeating any stories from previous adaptations. Speculation has been rising that Daredevil, Born Again, despite its title, will in fact be adapting the Devil's Reign comic run. This storyline shares similarities to Born Again, as it features Kingpin discovering Daredevil's identity after previously having had his mind wiped and using his influence as mayor of New York to outlaw vigilantism in the city. The similarities between the Devil's Reign and Born Again plots would allow the same themes to be transferred into Daredevil, Born Again, while still giving viewers a new story that they haven't seen before. The Devil's Reign comic story is packed full of characters already in, or soon coming to, the MCU, including Kingpin and the Thunderbolts, and would be the perfect place to introduce the MCU's Kilgrave. How can Kilgrave return in Daredevil, Born Again? Kilgrave first appeared in Jessica Jones Season 1 as a character with a twisted obsession and tragic past linking him to the eponymous hero. Even though the Purple Man was killed in the Season 1 finale, aka Smile, Kilgrave's influence over Jones throughout the series was massive. David Tennant's portrayal of the character helped him become a firm fan favorite, with many hoping that Kilgrave would return in the MCU after the Netflix series was cancelled. In Marvel Comics, Kilgrave has a huge part to play in the Devil's Reign storyline, so it stands to reason that he could be making his official MCU debut in Daredevil, Born Again if this particular story is adapted. It has been rumored that Matt Murdock's appearance in Marvel Studios' upcoming Echo series will involve the character searching for a missing Jessica Jones. If this turns out to be true, it's likely that Jones will have a role in Daredevil, Born Again. This would fit perfectly into the Devil's Reign storyline, as it's Jones who realizes that Kingpin is taking advantage of Kilgrave's brainwashing powers. The Netflix series MCU canonicity is still in question, so the finale of Jessica Jones Season 1 could easily be ignored, and Kilgrave could return unscathed. However, if these shows are canon, the comics have seen Kilgrave die or leave to recuperate from injury and return nonetheless, so it's not out of the question for him to join the MCU. Daredevil, Born Again can explain Kingpin's rise to power after being Matt Murdock's arch-nemesis throughout Netflix's Daredevil series. Wilson Fisk, A.K.A. Kingpin finally made his MCU debut in Hawkeye as the man pulling the strings of the tracksuit mafia. D'Onofrio is set to return in Echo and Daredevil, Born Again, so it seems Kingpin will have an opportunity for more development in the MCU than he did on Netflix. This would lead nicely into an adaptation of the Devil's Reign storyline, as that comic run features Fisk as the mayor of New York, which is something that could clearly become the character's trajectory in the MCU, giving him more power than ever and making him a truly formidable foe to Daredevil. As well as harnessing the power of Kilgrave, Devil's Reign also involves Kingpin employing a Thunderbolt unit to do his nefarious bidding, meaning an adaptation of this storyline in Daredevil, Born Again would tie in perfectly with Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts film, which is set to follow not long after the series. Devil's Reign is packed full of twists and turns that would translate brilliantly onto the screen and certainly provide enough material to fill out the 18-episode run comfortably. It seems certain that Daredevil and Kingpin will butt heads once again in the MCU, and perhaps Daredevil, Born Again will also see the introduction of Jessica Jones and the Purple Man himself. Key release dates: Black Panther, Wakanda Forever release date, 2022 11/11 Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania release date, 2023 02/17 Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3 release date, 2023 05/05 The Marvels Captain Marvel 2 release date, 2023 07/28 Captain America. New World Order release date, 2024 05/03 Marvel's Thunderbolts release date, 2024 07/26 Marvel's Fantastic Four release date, 2024 11/08 Avengers: The Kang Dynasty release date, 2025 05/02 Avengers: Secret Wars release date, 2025 11/07.